All right. So let's start doing something in here. Let's open Visual Studio Code in this directory so we can open it up as like a project. So type code space dot, dot being current directory, right? And it should open with PeopleFactory over here on the left and the README. Right. So let's add a new file to this project called index.html. And let's put some HTML in there. Yeah. In terminal, code space dot. That way it'll open up in the current directory so that you won't have a bunch of other files. On Mac or Windows. Okay, on Mac, if you don't have the command, type, let me make sure this is right. It's command, Shift Command P, Shift Command P. And then command line, there we go. And then type shell or something. And it'll say shell command, install code command in path. So choose that. So that was Shift Command P to open up this thing. Then just search for the word shell. Find this command, install code command in path, run that. And you might have to open up a new terminal window then, but then you'll have the code command. Once you have code opened and you have index.html created, let's just put some boilerplate in there. On the website, under the tools section, under Visual Code Extensions, I talk about one called HTML boilerplate. If you have that installed, you can just type HTML tab, and voila. We have some nice boilerplate HTML. If you don't have that, I encourage you to install it at some point. For right now, I'll copy and paste this into Slack. I'm going to get rid of some of these conditional comments, which are just IE things. But don't worry about getting rid of them if you don't want to. I would rather just not clutter it up. So I'm going to copy and paste this into Slack, just in case you don't have the bootstrap thing happening. Or boilerplate, I mean. One way or another, let's get some lovely HTML in place. We can give it a title here on line 6. Just type a title in there like PeopleFactory. And let's talk a little about the anatomy of HTML. It's an extension for Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it installed, you can read about it on the tools page of the website for the class. But for right now, you can just copy and paste it out of Slack. So let's talk about the structure of HTML. So let's look at title here, where I typed in PeopleFactory. This whole thing is called an element. The basic building blocks of HTML. This and this are called what? Starts with the T. What's tags? That's right. Have a sucker. Why not? Woo! Tags. An opening tag and a closing tag. Now, not absolutely every element has a closing tag because some of them are empty. But this one isn't. It has contents. Where are the contents of this title element? What are the contents of the title element here? The text PeopleFactory. You have too many suckers, man. You're going to have... No, I'm worried about you. But you deserve it. Just know you deserve another one. All right, PeopleFactory. The contents of this element. Now, the contents can be... the contents can be just text, as they are here, or it can be more elements, like head. Look how big head is here. It's got an opening tag, it's got a closing tag, and it's got a whole bunch of elements inside it. The contents. Whole thing, an HTML element. Now some of them have these things. What do we call those? Attributes, that's right. I just gave you something, didn't I? Yeah. But I'm sure it meant a lot to you, and it still warms your heart, so you don't need another one just yet. So the attribute here is called char set or char set or whatever you want to call it. The value is UTF-8. We typically put double quotes around our attribute values in HTML. So pretty easy to get the basics of the structure of HTML. So let's add some elements of our own. Down here in the body, let's add an H1, a first level heading. So opening tag, H1. Closing tag, H1. The little slash indicates closing. And let's put some contents in there. A factory of people. Cool. Now let's open that up in the browser and see if we've got anything. If you happened to install the View in Browser extension for VS Code, you can just hit Control F1 or Command F1 on a Mac. And on a Mac, keep in mind to hit F1, you have to hold down function, so Command Function F1 effectively. Otherwise, again, if you're on a Mac, you could just type open index.html. That'll open in your default browser. If you don't have any of those means available to you, you could find index.html in the Explorer inside code, right-click and say Reveal in Finder or Reveal in Explorer. That'll open up the directory it's in. Double-click that and it'll open it up in your default browser. If Chrome isn't your default browser, right-click, say Open with Chrome. One way or another, you should end up with this thing open. Wonderful. So exciting, I think I'm going to make another commit to Git. So let's do a Git status. Aha, we see index.html, that's a new file. Let's type git add index.html. And now what have we done? We've taken this file that Git knew nothing about, that was only in our working directory, we've added it to the index. So now Git knows about it, and it's ready to be committed. So we're going to commit now, and then it will have a label. Git commit -m for message. Add a page with a heading. Now, I write all my commit messages as a complete sentence in the imperative form, like a command. That way they kind of read back, this commit will add a page with a heading. That style is the same one used by GitHub themselves, by Google, by Facebook, and by lots of other organizations. It's nice to have parallel construction on all your commit messages. Makes it a lot easier to read through your history, so please do that. We will set good examples here in class. So do that, and now you can just say git push. You don't have to say all that -u origin master business. And if you go back out to GitHub, having done that, you'll see 2 commits instead of 1. And if you click on 2 commits, you'll see add README and add a page with a heading. Cool. So, how about some JavaScript? Yeah. All right, let's open up our developer tools in our browser. On the Mac, hit Option Command J. On Windows, you should be able to do Shift Control J. If Shift Control J doesn't work, try Shift Control I, and that'll open up the Elements tab, and then you can switch to the console that's right next to it. But you want the console, where we can just start typing JavaScript. Uh-huh. I think F12 also does it on Windows. All right, so let's just type a really simple JavaScript command. Console.log hello world, the string hello world. Single quotes, double quotes. There's no difference in JavaScript except whether you have to, which character you have to escape. Just be consistent. Don't switch between the two within the same file without a good reason. I think single quotes are a little more common in the JavaScript world. I'm going to use single quotes. So the important thing is wherever you work, do what they do. Don't go against the grain. Don't be a jerk and insist on doing things your way when they've adopted a particular style already. So the style for this class is single quotes. So use single quotes unless you have a good reason not to. Double quotes in HTML, single quotes in JavaScript. But there is no functional difference. And here we see hello world printed to the console. We also see undefined. That's just the return value. The return value of console log happens to always be undefined. Nothing to worry about. It worked. You can also clear your console inside the developer tools with Command K or Control L. But we want to interact with the page. This console log stuff's boring. So let's see about that.